Delos.
Hello and welcome again to Highly Questionable. This is Jorge Sedano. What do we got today that excites you, Jorge?
Oh, Paul George's revenge game, and Papi's not happy about it.
Dale, Papi.
Are you beginning to think the Rockets are the best team in the NBA?
They have been so far this year. That's not up for dispute. In record, in point differential, they've played better than anyone have, and they have won 11 straight since Chris Paul came back. And you can't be better than the Golden State Warriors with players, but what you can do is be better by taking more threes than they do, by taking a market inefficiency. One shot on the court is worth more than all the others, taking it a lot more than Golden State. And in that scenario, if they get home court advantage and can make a bunch of threes in a Game 7, yeah, they can beat the Warriors.
If they have home court advantage, they have a 53% chance of winning the series according to the metrics. But here's the thing. They have the recipe to beat the Warriors. You need three-point shooting, obviously. You need guards that can penetrate. They've got that. And you need a big man who can be efficient on both offense and defense. And Clint Capella has been that. Here's my biggest issue, though. Chris Paul and James Harden, their net rating when they're both on the floor is only about a 6. When Chris Paul is on the floor and James Harden isn't, it's a 33.7. They're taking turns right now, and I don't think you could beat the Warriors that way.
It's interesting what he says because D'Antoni has always made his point guards better. He made Steve Nash a 2-time MVP, more than Shaquille O'Neal, because D'Antoni can do that. So what happens when you give him the very best point guard? What happens is what you're seeing right now.
I think that they'll be the best team in the NBA until the second round.
Right, there you go. That's the criticism of Chris Paul, right. And then all of a sudden, whoops. I mean, that's what you all think right now, right? Until you see it proven otherwise, that's what you're going to think.
Pretty much, yeah.
Did Paul George deserve to the crowd?
Oh, the Thunder were terrible last night, but they won anyway at Indiana. All three of their starters, the Thunder starters, were bad. The three guys, Melo and Paul George and the other guy, Westbrook, the MVP. Let's see what happened here.
And now an opportunity, as you said, to really change the pressure on Indiana if he gets both, and he does.
Indiana will use its last timeout.
Yeah, George, what happened here is that he was booed and he didn't like it. He probably wanted something better than that. So that's him at the end getting his vengeance on the crowd.
Well, the bench bailed him out, but he did hit the free throws at the end, and he had a great defensive performance overall. He held Victor Oladipo to 9 of 26. This is the guy he was traded for, so he took umbrage with that and took it out on Victor Oladipo, at least on the defensive end. So, you know what? He deserves it. 2-0 against his former team.
Shh. Oladipo said after the game, I've never been covered like that. You can imagine how tired Paul George is of hearing, hey, Indiana's been better without you. Indiana's Oladipo has been better here than you've ever been here. Paul George was feeling himself at the end of that one.
He was saying shh to the crowd. He was saying it to Carmelo because Carmelo wanted the ball every play.
That's right. That's right.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
What do you make of Kirk Cousins saying that if he tested positive for CTE, he would retire?
It's an easy thing to say right now. A lot of these football players won't admit this kind of thing, and it's easier to admit when no one can test your brain while living. It's only something that can be tested after you've died, and the testing hasn't quite gotten there yet. But I believe these comments are probably born of the idea that this guy is a new father. This guy understands that there's a future after football and has a whole new perspective now on life because he no longer is responsible for just himself. He's brought something else into the world, and I'm guessing that that's showing you part of why it is he's looking at it this way.
Well, it's a practical answer, too, to boot. So he's in a situation now, though, where he's made a lot of money. And there's an interesting quote from him saying that he could understand if you're a guy who hasn't gotten a big contract where you'd want to play, but if you're in your 7, 8, 9 where you've made some money, then you'd be able to just walk away. So it seems like there is a price, though, for his health.
One of the things that happens here, though, that is interesting is there are plenty of other guys all throughout the league, like Wes Welker. You got to drag the uniform off of them. They want to keep playing no matter what the dangers are, no matter what the warnings are. And so he's not exactly in the majority here when it comes to that particular culture.
How should John Brown's players feel about John Dorsey throwing shade at Sashi Brown?
It's not that he threw shade at Sashi Brown. It's the way he threw shade at Sashi Brown. He said there's a new sheriff in town, basically, and he acted like it by saying, now we're going to get some real players. He's going to try his darndest. His darndest, John Dorsey is, to get great players. So he's talking bluster on the radio about trying his darndest, and there are players in that locker room, all of whom would like to use him as a wishbone and break him in half because those Browns players are physically dying while losing games.
Well, it's easy to say if you're John Dorsey because he's got a lot of ammunition, right? He's got some assets there now that he's with the Cleveland Browns. They got over $100 million in cap space. They've got 3 picks in the top 2 rounds, including 2 potential top 5 picks, a decent young offensive line and a decent young defensive line. So it's easy to say all this stuff now. But here's the thing, as you pointed out, Dan, Myles Garrett, last time I checked, he looked like a pretty good real player to me. So I don't know what he's talking about. It's not only shade, it's just like a nuclear bomb he dropped.
There's no reason to start this way. There really isn't, unless you're just bloated on your own ego. You don't need to alienate your already losing locker room unless you want to show everybody that you're in charge now and it's time to pay attention to you trying your darndest.
Well, and it's just a fear of analytics. And I think football, of all the cultures, right, is the most afraid of analytics. Oh, tough guy, football guys. The NBA had that stance at one point, and so did Major League Baseball. And now football is really against analytics just because of the word. I feel like they're just threatened by it.
Ring, ring.
Uh-oh. Who's calling?
Sashi, what's going on? Sashi Brown.
How many other Sashis do you
Mike
Yeah.
condolences to Sashi, yes.
What? Oh, okay. You don't care what he says?
Yeah, all right.
About the players? You're just glad that you're leaving Cleveland?
Okay,
that place is a hellhole?
Yeah,
okay, I let them know. Okay,
Let him say
Sashi,
what he
okay.
wants about my players. I'm out of there, baby. Woo!
All that matters.
Is the Marlins fire sale bad or good for baseball?
This has been quite the conundrum here in South Florida. The only city that I've ever cared about is Miami in my life. It's the only city I've ever loved, and so it's really hard to know that this is exceptional for baseball. It's great for New York. You want the Bash Brothers 2017 to be in New York, and that's all that matters to Major League Baseball. But you've got one segment of one population here in South Florida feeling very lonely because it's very decidedly not good for them. It's good for the overall game. It's not good that you still have in South Florida not one single reason to have one single customer.
It's pretty clear Major League Baseball has 2 problems. One is a vetting process for their owners, because the last 2 owners in South Florida have been pretty broke, right? They've all had to borrow money to acquire this particular team in Miami. And then the trade process. If you look at the NBA, you got to trade basically dollar for dollar within 10 or 20% or whatever it is as far as the salaries are concerned. In the NFL, because it's a cap sport, you have not the exact same situation, but you don't get these lopsided trades very often. That's one of the problems with Major League Baseball. The 2 issues, a vetting process and the trade process.
And the third problem is that there are a bunch of flyers.
Okay,
They
well,
lie to everybody, to get the stadium. A number of years ago, they say, oh, baseball is coming to Miami. It's going to be the best thing that ever happened to you guys. You are not going to reduce payroll. Baseball is going to be behind you, behind everything that is happening in Miami. They lied.
They didn't.
They sold us a bill of goods,
was a bill of
starting
goods.
from the very, very top.
Yeah,
that's right.
From the very top,
Yeah.
Very top. He was calling Jeter before very bad names off air. Very bad names.
No, he's not wanted in Miami.
Okay.
He's a persona non grata in Miami.
Persona non grata.
That's right.
What's his new name? Derek what?
Derek Cheater.
Derek Cheater.
That's right. Cheater. That's right.
Cheater is the word
Cheater.
that he...
Cheater.
Cheater. He is saying cheater.
Cheese.
Cheater.
CH.
That's right. He's not wanted in Miami. We don't want him watching the Heat game.
No, that's enough. We got
the Dolphins game.
We've got it.
We want him out of
we got
town.
all
Back
the
to New
material,
York. That's
Robert.
it.
We got everything we need.
Yes.
Coming up next on my son Stevie's show, Jalen Ramsey.
You're not saying anything bad about DeAndre Hopkins here. This is just your father talking to you.
Man, hey Jay, you better go impose your will on him all game. I'm talking put your hands on him, physical, all game. He better not catch nothing.
My son Stevie show is brought to you by Audi. Joining us at the beach today, Jalen Ramsey.
He is fun, colorful. He's really good. His Jacksonville Jags are currently leading the AFC South with the 3rd best record in the conference. Some reason he hates Sedano, though. Wants him out of here. Let's talk to him alone. Your dad, what did he do for a living when you were growing up?
He was a fireman, man. He was a fireman in the Nashville Fire Department. And then he had his training company, Ramsey Performance Training in Nashville, for about 20 years now. He's trained everybody in my family, basically my cousin, my brother, all my friends, myself, Derek Barnett, first rounder for Philly. He trained with me and my dad. My dad has, a good number of college athletes right now who trained with him. So, I mean, he's been successful at doing that. That's what he really wants to do. But he still loves the fire department, though. He just can't stop being a fireman. He just got promoted not too long ago to fire chief. So he's, he's loving it.
What is the story that you can tell us that you remember from your childhood of your father fighting fire?
Ah, man. As a kid, I used to think it was like super, super cool. He would come home with stories. Like, I remember one time he came home with a story. He was like, man, like sad stories even sometimes. Like, everybody died in this fire, which is sad. But then he would be like, but this dude's had some type of watch on. I don't remember what exactly watch. He was like, his watch was still ticking. He was like, that should be in a commercial. I was just like, yeah, but that ain't really what the... that ain't really what you should have been talking about.
No, Dad,
yeah,
Big L is terrible at making commercial campaigns. I want to say that on television to everybody. No watchmaker is going to want to be associated with that story.
Right, right. He had stories though, man. He had plenty of stories. He would tell us how he hates when people call to get cats down. He was like, we got to go get some cats down. And he would hate it, but man, I loved him being a fireman.
You were telling us off air, your father has a little bit of LeVar in him, Big L, Lamont. I want to hear like the best story you got of Big L being Big L.
Yeah, man. If he was right here right now, he'll probably tell you the same thing. He would tell you he was the man in his neighborhood. He'd tell you all these stories. He'd probably sound just like I am. I'm spitting the image of my dad. I'm just alike. So, super confident. He'll probably come on here and tell you, yeah, my boys was running the neighborhood. They came to the house. They were winning every week. I had to make sure they were winning. Kind of just like, LeVar, super confident in me and my brother and all our abilities and always pushed us, and he was our trainer as well and our coach.
Do you have a story? I want to be clear on something, okay? The next words that come out of your mouth are not going to be about DeAndre Hopkins, but I want you to recreate your father talking to you about DeAndre Hopkins. Can I get, because you say you pride yourself on being honest. You pride yourself on being truthful. Your dad is truthful about how honest you are.
Yeah.
Do you dare do your dad calling you up saying what about DeAndre Hopkins? I want to hear that side of the conversation, not your side. You're not saying anything bad about DeAndre Hopkins here. This is just your father talking to you.
Man, hey Jay, you better go impose your will on him all game. I'm talking put your hands on him, physical, all game. He better not catch nothing. He ain't as good as you. He can't catch on you. I heard that week one. That was good. I hear that all the time though, man. He always, telling me impose my will on somebody. Go out there and show him why you the best. Especially around draft time. Show him why you should have been the #1 pick, not the #5 pick. It's little stuff, man.
Is there anyone that he's willing to give respect to, where he's saying not impose your will, this is someone that you need to be scared of? Like where Dad is talking in terms that like maybe this is a little bit for you to handle. Never.
I've never heard him say that. Never. Even against Antonio Brown, who was, arguably the best receiver in the league, it was kind of the same thing. Hey, make sure you put your hands on him. He too little. Put your hands on him. He's too little for you. If you put your hands on him, you drag him out of bounds. He ain't getting down the field. He ain't doing this. No catches today.
Going to change camera angles here so we could get Big G, we call it. Big G, Gonzalo in here.
Nice talking to you.
Look at how happy he is. He's so much happier
Big G.
talking to you
What's
than he
up?
is to me. Like,
I'm little G. I'm little G.
You little G?
Yeah, I'm the little G. I'm the square peg that's trying to fit me into a round hole.
Yeah, we are. What do you got for Jalen, Poppy? What do you got for him? What's the question? Oh, you got to read the question. What happened? Got it? All right, we'll wait for him.
All right, I got it.
All right, what do you got for him? Let's go.
I heard that you love to play top golf. What is the high score that you have reached there?
Man, my top golf score. What's the highest you can get at Top Golf?
I don't have any
I
idea.
don't have any idea, bro.
No idea?
He just saw. He can't even remember the questions.
It's somewhere close to that.
Close
somewhere
to that.
close to
Well,
that.
can you give me some tips on how to improve my game?
Hey, you know what? I know somebody better for you. Big L. My dad, he can teach you. That's who taught me how to do the Top Golf.
All right, okay. Jalen, we're going to have to do this here where we get you and your dad on with me and my dad because it sounds like it's time to make your dad the next LeVar. Big L needs to be the next LeVar. We're going to do that. Let's do that in the future.
Hey, Big L is a star, man.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Hey, I appreciate y'all.
Gracias, Jalen. Gracias. Highly questionable is broadcast from the Clevelander Hotel on beautiful South Beach, Miami. Time to play the game that judges people whose favorite ice cream flavor is vanilla. Do you question?
You give us the topic and events, and we question them.
Do you question if this is more demoralizing than getting dunked on?
All right, dunked on. That's pretty demoralizing. Getting dunked on. So let's see. Can this be more demoralizing than that? Yes, it can, is the answer to my question. Oh, it really can.
Yeah.
That might be the single most demoralizing thing I've ever seen in the history of athletic competition.
Certainly emasculating. I don't think there's any question about that.
I mean, can you imagine if that happened in a big moment in a game? Well, it actually did to Iguodala, right?
Yeah,
kind
LeBron.
of.
Well,
kind
it was a
of.
little more athletic LeBron. It wasn't just like, give me the damn ball.
Kind of, though.
Yeah.
Kind of.
You know what? I think that I have seen something more demoralizing.
No, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Let's see.
That's right.
I don't believe it.
Good by the Huskies. Lasher by the back pass the other way.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
You win,
my
Bobby.
father is right.
You win again.
Oh, my God, again. Yes.
The kid from Miami has been saved.
Yes, that's other. Okay, I'm sorry I ever questioned my father. That was a snorting sound that just came out of Sedano.
Yes.
Do you question if this was worth the shortcut?
Kevin Durant question, what is this about?
Oh, no.
Oh, how are we going to get stuck here? Oh, is it just going to, are they just going to go down the river?
Yep.
Oh, that's how they're going to do this. They are going to get across the road that way. Okay, this
They're not
begs.
making it. There's no chance that
No, they're going to make it. And it begs the question, what's going to happen when they get to the other side? How much water is going to be in the car?
the engine's going to be shorter.
The engine, one would imagine that this would short the occasional engine. Oh, see, they're going to get there.
No, I don't believe it.
They will get there.
No.
And yeah!
They made it. Sometimes you're better off not crossing the river.
Oh, what happened here?
Some trouble now.
No, I don't want to watch this. No.
What is it?
No. Look, you know what this is.
no.
Get out of there.
Run,
Get out of
Zebra,
there. Get out of there.
Crazy zebra.
Oh, okay. Everything's good now. Oh, okay.
No.
Nothing to worry about. Sure? No, oh, my God, no. No, for the love of God, no. Go back to the water. That's not fair.
Go.
That was a sad video. Time to play the game that is on the lamb. See or no?
On the lamb. Okay, hiding. Okay, you tell us what's on television tonight. We'll tell you if we're intrigued or not.
On TNT, Lakers and Cavs.
Oh, yeah, sure. LeBron has been very complimentary of Lonzo, not so complimentary of Lonzo's father. People expect LeBron to end up in Los Angeles next year. Yeah, I'm intrigued in this one. How about you, Sedano?
Yeah, CC, I'm in. Of course, LeBron was at Lonzo's Summer League game. I was actually there. It was the only Summer League game that he attended, which was Lonzo's. But I want to see the confrontation, the stare down between him and LeVar. Remember, LeVar kind of called him out on his parenting, so I want to see if LeBron and him can make amends.
One of the lamest name drops ever there. I was there at that Summer League.
It was, but I was there.
He was there, though. Poppy, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. I'm very intrigued. I'm looking forward not only to the game, but what is going to happen after the game. Because you know what is going to happen after the game? LeBron is going to get on the Lakers bus and he's going to go to the airport and he's going to fly all the way to LA. You know, that's what is going to happen.
Sneak away, get on their bus, see if anyone notices.
Yeah.
On TLC, 90 Day Fiancé.
This one's interesting here. People who need to get married within 90 days or they lose their visa. So you don't lose just whoever it is that you're married to. You lose your country. So let's do a televised representation of my Latin brethren.
No.
But it was pretty funny. I will grant you. Sedano, are you intrigued?
CC, very accurate, actually. I love the line of, it's my first fun day in America. Clearly that marriage will last. And because I grew up in Miami, I've probably seen a lot of this, to be honest.
All of it. Yeah. All of it. I think it happened to me one week. Bobby, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. But was that Magic City?
Oh, that was Magic City.
Yeah, I go there every day for lunch. That's right, I go there.
I was conceived in Magic City. We didn't want to tell you this way, but that's how it happened.
You see, table number 4, that's my reservation every night. That's it. That's reserved for me, for Papi.
So many Levitard memories in that place.
that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching.
One more day of Sedano. You can do it. One more day of Sedano tomorrow. We'll talk to you then.
Hasta luego.
You know, the first time I went there, I thought I was going to see some magic tricks, you know, and that was completely different what I saw.
Different kind of tricks, yeah.
He went to Magic City. When are they going to start sawing people in half? Why is everything